Hello all, welcome to Applications Manager free training series. Now let's go to the agenda for today's session. In today's session, we'll learn how you can auto-discover components and dependencies across the entire application stack. We'll also learn how you can measure key performance metrics across your application infrastructure. We'll also learn how you can effectively utilize AI and ML to detect anomalies, analyze performance trends, and plan capacity. Lastly, we'll also see how you can get the most out of Applications Manager's inbuilt and out-of-the-box integrations. Now let's go to the first topic for the day, which is auto-discovering components and dependencies across your entire application stack. Now imagine you're an IT admin in a growing organization. Now your company is expanding its digital services, deploying new applications, microservices, and cloud instances rapidly. However, you have no clear visibility into what's running in your environment. Every time an issue arises, whether it's a slow application, an overloaded server, or an unknown dependency, it takes hours or even days to manually map out the affected components. Now, this lack of visibility could lead to delayed troubleshooting, performance bottlenecks, and worst of all, downtime that impacts end users. Now, some of the common challenges that teams like Jim or you might face is that you often rely on manual tracking of applications, servers, and dependencies. Now, as your environment grows, this becomes highly unmanageable, especially in hybrid and multi-cloud setups. Another problem that's often encountered is shadow IT, which is basically undocumented applications and services which might introduce security risks and compliance violations. Now, when a performance issue or an outage occurs, the IT teams often struggle to pinpoint the root cause of issues due to a lack of clear dependency map. And this also increases the mean time to resolve an issue. Now, coupled with all of this, without proper discovery, IT teams may also allocate resources inefficiently, leading to underutilized or over-provisioned servers and cloud instances. Now, how can you effectively prevent this? To effectively prevent this, Applications Manager can discover all the servers, services, and applications that are running within your infrastructure. To discover resources across IT infrastructure, three methods can be used. The first one is bulk discovery, followed by network discovery, followed by virtual infrastructure discovery. In bulk discovery, you can add all the monitors of the same type in bulk. Now, bulk import of monitors is performed by using a CSV file that contains all the configuration details of the monitor that you wish to add. The next type of discovery is network discovery, and this is a process of discovering all the resources in a specified network. Now, this basically discovers monitors running in default port only. The last one is virtual infrastructure discovery, wherein you'll be able to discover all the VMs within your infrastructure. Now, ideally, there are two types of dependency mapping that can be done with Applications Manager. The first one is server to application dependency, and the second one is application to application dependency. Now, server to application dependency displays all the applications that are running on a server and maps the applications that are interconnected with each other. Now, application to application dependency displays all the applications that are running on same and different servers and maps the ones that are interconnected. Now, our application discovery and dependency mapping feature has a lot of benefits. Firstly, it helps you discover and group resources and establish relationships between them. Then, it helps you map correctly and provides a holistic view of your entire IT infrastructure. It also allows you to assess the health and impact potential of resources and more. For example, say if you have an application which is running on server A and it's using the database that's running on server B. Now, for these two servers, we can create a relationship map. We can also view the live status of applications at the hosted service as well. Now, this particular feature will also help you detect as well as isolate problems, if any, and you'll also be able to have an informed view of the status of your applications. Like rather than checking if the host server is down or database is down manually, you can check this view to point to the exact root cause of a given issue. Now let me shift to the UI and show you how this works. Under settings and discovery and data collection, you can click add or discover. So under add, as you can see here, Applications Manager supports close to 150 plus technologies across on-prem as well as cloud. So we provide support for various platforms, including Java, .NET, Ruby on Rails, PHP, Node.js, etc. And we also provide support for application servers, cloud applications, including AWS, Azure, Microsoft 365, OpenStack, Google Cloud Platform, Oracle Cloud, etc. We also provide support for Cisco UCS and Nutanix. And you can also add custom monitors if any. You'll also be able to support wide variety of databases, including RDBMS, non-relational databases, graph databases, and more. We also support ERP, mail servers, middlewares and portals, servers, services, VMs, web server and services, and more. Now, the first option that we discussed was bulk import, right? Say you have a set of Amazon monitors, say EC2, RDS, etc. If you have a CSV file with all of those monitors, you'll be able to upload all of these and they will be discovered easily. The next step of discovery that we have is network discovery. So we've already discovered some for you, but let me just show you how it works. So we have the network discovery details. So you need to give the IP range. So here you can filter the applications based on the categories by either servers or applications. And you also have the default ports here. Once this is done, you can click next and you'll be able to associate these with the available credentials. And you can also add credentials if necessary. And then once you click next, you'll be able to schedule the discovery either on a daily, weekly, or a monthly basis. And in case you just want to scan your monitors, you'll be able to do that. In case you want to scan and add, you'll also be able to do that. Now I already have some for you. Let me show you how the dependency map looks like. So this is a dependency map, as you can see. So you have the central server here, and this is connected to middleware MSNQ and MS SQL Server as well as Postgres. As you hover over, you can see that the status of this particular database is down, and this is because the resource isn't available. Now, apart from this, you'll also be able to group all of your monitors into monitor groups. So here you have a new monitor group here. So in case you want to group all of the monitors into one holistic view, you can do that here. For example, the health of your online web application might depend upon various factors, right? So this could basically depend upon the health of the application server hosting the web application, the availability of the web server for accessing the web applications, the database server for accessing as well as getting the information required, and so on. Now, these web applications and services can be grouped together and be monitored in a single monitor group. So here you can specify the group type, monitor group or a web application group. So here you can see all the application components and you can select them. You can also click advanced the location and you can click create group. So your monitor group will be created, and in case you want to associate monitors, you'll also be able to associate the same. And in case you want a business view of all of this, you'll be able to see the same here. As you can see, this is a central monitor group, and you can see the other subgroups here, the application server group, web server group, database server group, etc. So this is how discovery data collection as well as business view and monitor groups work. Now let's go back to the presentation. So, and move on to the second topic for the day, which is measuring key performance metrics across your application infrastructure. So one of the major problems that most teams have is the difference between reality as well as expectations, right? So when you have an IT infrastructure, most of the team expect to have a single view of everything that's going on, get cross-domain insights, contextually correlate all the metrics across the infrastructure, as well as instantly troubleshoot them. Whereas what happens is a blame game because of lack of visibility and data fragmentation, because you have many great point solutions, right? Including open source tools for multiple use cases. But using all of these fragmented solutions with disparate data sources mostly leads to data silos, which makes it extremely difficult to correlate data. This in turn increases the time to resolve issues, as well as this leads to a lot of revenue loss and other issues as well. So often these teams end up blaming each other. The DevOps team blames the intraops teams blames the SecOps blames the NetOps, and NetOps blames the AppOps again. So the cycle just continues without actually resolving the issue at hand. So to understand what constitutes an issue, you will need visibility into every layer of your application infrastructure. Now, this could include visibility into your hardware layer, your network, your operating system, or even your applications. Now, at the hardware layer, you'll be able to see if there are problems with respect to the availability as well as hardware errors. So at the network level, you'll also be able to see if there is any excessive network utilization or error rates. And at the operating system level, you'll be able to see if servers have been provisioned poorly. And at the application layer, you'll be able to see if there is any slowness or unhandled exceptions. Now, within Applications Manager, we provide you two options. So we provide both agentless as well as agent-based monitoring that you can utilize in order to get a full view of what's happening within your application infrastructure. So when do we basically use agent-based and when you can use agentless? Now, to use agent-based monitoring, you can basically use it when you cannot enable SNMP or WMI on the server, and if your credentials cannot be shared, and if you cannot open specific ports, or when the IP address of your devices frequently change, example WAN devices, or if you require in-depth scanning and monitoring of your hosts. So this is when you choose agent-based monitoring. So you basically choose agentless monitoring when you do not want any third-party programs to be installed on your servers. And the agentless approach also helps you monitor any OS flavor as well as custom servers that do not allow installation of server agents. Now, Applications Manager has recently released support for agent-based monitoring for both Windows as well as Linux. So what you need to do is to go to Settings, Discovery and Data Collection. Let me just show you. And here you have Manage Agent. So here you can click Deploy Agent and you can click the OS onto which you want to deploy the agent. So in case I want to do it for my Windows, I need to download the Windows Agent MSL file and you will have it here. So once you download it, you can run the installer to start the installation wizard. And then you can enter your credentials, host name, as well as port number. And once the installation process is complete, you can navigate to settings, manage agent, and view the agent to see if your agent is currently deployed or not. Now, in case you want to understand how agent-based monitoring can work for you, we'll be happy to schedule a personalized demo for the same. Please, or you can also choose to ping us in the chat panel and we will help you out. Now, let's move on to the three key technologies that we're covering today. So today we'll be covering the key parameters that you need to track when it comes to your application servers, databases, as well as your servers. So when it comes to application servers, there are a wide variety of metrics that you need to monitor. But today we're going to be focusing only on the top 5 metrics. So when it comes to application servers, you will need to keep an eye on the JVM heap usage because it will help you identify the memory intensive parts of the application, detect memory leaks, determine how much memory should be allocated to a particular Java application. Now, Applications Manager also helps you check or identify the current Java usage of your application. Now, in case there are any issue or the usage of Java is high, you can always create an alert. Apart from this, you can also see the server response time, which is how long the servers take in order to respond to a given request. And you can also monitor the threads generated by your application. Now, in case a particular thread utilization goes beyond a set value, a warning can be generated. Now, when it comes to monitoring servers, we support a wide variety of technologies, which includes Windows, IBM AIX, FreeBSD, your Linux, Oracle Solaris, Novell, etc. So it's very important for us to monitor your system level metrics, server availability and uptime, as well as application level performance metrics. So some of the key metrics that you need to focus on are your event logs. Now, monitoring event logs can help you better understand how your system is operating, and they can also give you an insight into the health of your system. Now, in addition to monitoring service at process level, you'll be able to understand why a particular server is resource constrained and what exactly is causing the issue. Now, this clarity will help you detect when a specific process goes haywire, which might deprive other processes of the resources and which might bring down the performance of the server or the entire infrastructure. Now, without process monitoring, identifying the root cause of these chain of events might be close to impossible. Now, let's move on to databases. Now, when it comes to databases, there are several metrics that you need to keep in track of, but these are the 4 key critical ones. First and foremost, you need to be able to track the query performance, which will help you identify which queries are actually slowing down your database and what is the most frequent query your database receives. The second one is database connections. Now, this will help you understand how many database connections are actually in use, how many do you actually need. The third one is backup and jobs. So this will help you understand when the backup was last taken and ensure that you receive notifications on time. The fourth one is log statistics. So this will help you look out for log wait times and identify which transactions are blocked. Now let's move on to the UI and see how these parameters are tracked in Applications Manager. So under Application Server, I'll show you how Tomcat Server works. I've already installed one for you. So under the Overview tab, you'll be able to see the performance of your Tomcat server for the last few hours. And you'll also be able to see key metrics such as server response time, server performance, thread usage, class loading, request summary, and so on. You'll also be able to see the memory details such as memory utilization, memory usage, which includes the amount of free memory, committed memory, maximum memory, minimum memory used, and so on. And you'll also be able to see the garbage collector details. Apart from that, under the thread tab, you'll also be able to see the thread pool utilization and the busy threads. Now, in case you have JDBC enabled, you'll be able to view that as well. Under web, you'll be able to view the request statistics as well as the processing time, which includes the bytes sent per second, bytes received per second, the number of requests that have been successful in total, and the number of failed requests. And under web applications, you'll be able to see the number of active sessions, which includes successful requests as well as the failed requests. You'll also be able to see the number of open sessions, expired sessions, rejected sessions, and so on. So in case you've configured servlets, you'll also be able to view the same. So this is how application server works. Let me show you how servers work. Under Windows, I've already installed one for you. So you can view the availability, CPU utilization, memory, and disk utilization. You'll also be able to view the complete breakdown of your CPU, disk, and network. As you can see here, you can view the CPU utilization by cores. You can also view the breakup of CPU utilization. And you'll also be able to see the amount of user time, system time, input output wait time, idle time, etc. And you'll also be able to see the disk utilization details and the disk input output statistics in case you've enabled them. Under network, in case you've enabled the interface and adapter, you'll be able to view those stats. But by default, you'll be able to view the firewall details, including whether your domain network, public network, or private network. And you'll also be able to see if these firewalls have been enabled at those networks or not. And you'll also be able to view the connection statistics, which will provide you into a detailed overview of your active, passive, reset, failed, and established connections. So in case you have enabled event logs for this particular host, you'll be able to see the event log details here. And in case you've enabled hardware monitoring for this particular server, you'll also be able to see that. Apart from that, you'll also be able to view the scheduled tasks and print queue. Now let's move on to database. So under the database tab, under the overview tab, you'll be able to view the availability and monitor information as usual. And you'll also be able to view the CPU, buffer cache hit ratio, plan cache hit ratio, etc. And you'll also be able to view the buffer manager statistics, access method details, cache details, lock and latch details, and more. Under the performance tab, you'll be able to view the top queries by CPU, which means the top queries that are utilizing the most amount of CPU. And you'll also be able to see the top slow running queries, which will pinpoint you to the query that's taking the most time to run, thereby slowing down your entire database. You'll be able to view details like the average execution time, and how the particular query has exceeded the average execution time and why it's slow. And you'll also be able to view details such as the most blocked queries, most frequently executed queries, top queries by lowest plan reuse, and so on. You'll also be able to view details like cost of missing indexes, top components by memory usage, and more. Now, under the database tab, you'll be able to get a glance of all the database and the details. You'll be able to get a glance of the data file as well as a log file of each of the database, and you'll be able to see the total size, the health and availability of that particular database. And you'll also be able to view the session details, including connection statistics, SQL statistics, your batch requests per minute, SQL compilations per minute, host details, your session details, including the DB it's been running on, the host details, your memory usage, CPU usage, the wait time, and so on. So in case of enable jobs, you'll be able to view the execution status of the jobs, whether it's idle, enabled, or disabled. And you'll also be able to view the last run details, which is basically whether if the job has succeeded or failed. And you'll also be able to see the amount of retries that have been attempted in order to succeed the job request. The next one is backup details. So you'll be able to view when the particular backup has been taken and what exactly is the backup age. So in case you've enabled replication, you'll also be able to view the replication details, and you'll also be able to view the user details. So you can create a report of all the users that have enabled the whose status is enabled, and you'll also be able to see which DB that they're default connected to and when they have been created. Apart from this, you'll also be able to view the cluster and storage node and networks, resource groups, and other details thoroughly. And lastly, you'll also be able to view the always on availability groups, including the particular group, its availability, health, configuration status, and so on. Now, in case you want to know how this can be configured in your environment, you can just ping us in the chat and we'll be happy to help you with the demo. Now let's move on to the third topic for the day, which is leveraging AI and ML to detect anomalies and troubleshoot issues quickly. Now let me have an example for you here. Let's see that you have an MS SQL server that needs to be backed up every 12 hours due to some issue. And because of some issue, it has not been backed up in the last 24 hours. Now, instead of manually scoring through, Applications Manager will help you automate actions via a custom script. So this script will associate the alarm the SQL job action, and this action can be automated whenever your backup age exceeds a certain set time. So this is how the process works. So this is your SQL server. You trigger an alarm, associate an alarm with an SQL job action, and this action is automated whenever the backup page is exceeded. We will see the same in the demo also. The next one is adaptive thresholds. Now, Applications Manager provides an option to raise an alert for its monitored components, including two methods. So it supports standard thresholds as well as adaptive thresholds. For standard thresholds, you can set the profile for critical, warning, or clear severity with two conditions that are supported for every severity. Now, instead of having or configuring a standard threshold, you can also choose an adaptive one. So, which will deviate, which will create a current pattern, which will understand the deviation pattern and trigger alerts uh, automatically. So, this will help and save you a lot of manual effort. Now, another area where we are using AI and ML is with respect to capacity planning as well as performance forecasting. So the first one is performance reports, where we support over 100 plus report types. And then with respect to the next thing, we have capacity planning reports, which will give you an overview of your idle, undersized, as well as oversized servers based on memory and disk utilization. And then lastly, we have a forecast reports, which leverage machine learning powered predictive analysis to based on historical growth and utilization trends, which will help you plan capacity as well as forecast future usage. Now, some of the report types that we support include your availability and health report, which will give you a glimpse of all the monitors that have been available during a particular time period in time. And you'll also be able to view the health of these monitors. Apart from that, you'll also be able to see the downtimes of all of these monitors, and you'll also be able to see the trend of each and every metric for that particular monitor. Apart from that, you'll also have the history report, which will give you an historical data of how that particular application has been performing over a period in time. And you'll also leverage the hour of the day report, which will give you how a particular metric has been performing at this particular hour in a day. And apart from that, you also have the inventory report, which will basically give you an inventory view of all the resources that are present within Applications Manager. Now let's move on to the second one, which is planning infrastructure capacity with utilization insights. Now, when it comes to capacity planning, we categorize the server into three types. The first one is oversized, second one is undersized, and the third one is idle servers. So when it comes to oversized server, an oversized server is typically a one that has more resources than it needs to handle the workload that it is expected to handle. For example, if a small company has a dedicated server with 64 GB of RAM and only hosts a single website that receives low traffic, the server might be oversized and a waste of resources. The second one is undersized server. An undersized server is the one that has insufficient resources to handle the workload it is expected to handle. For example, if a web server is running on a virtual machine with only 1 GB of RAM and the website receives a lot of traffic, now the server might become overwhelmed and slow down or even crash. Now, the third one is an ideal server. As the name indicates, it's the one that's not being used at all or is being used well below its capacity. For example, if company has a backup server that is used only once a week for a few hours, the server may be idle for the rest of the time. Now, this will cause the application level issues as well as server level issues, right? Now, capacity planning will ideally help you avoid these scenarios by categorizing these servers. Now, this report could be shared with the concerned teams to ensure that the resource allocation is done properly, be it in production or other environments. Now, the third kind of report that we support is called a forecast report. Now, these reports could be generated for any of your metrics. Say, for example, for disk utilization of servers and database file size for DBs. Now, say you want to predict the disk utilization of your particular Tomcat server for July 2025. So you'll be with by enabling machine learning, our tool will basically help understand the patterns of disk usage over a period of time, and it will predict how much of disk will be used by July 2025. So this will help you plan capacity and allocate resources accordingly. Now, apart from reports, we also provide dashboards and widgets. So our dashboards are very intuitive and they integrate with other solutions like Grafana, Kibana, etc. And it will help you visualize your data better. You'll also be able to create custom dashboards, and we also have custom widgets. Now, some of the widgets that we have is a performance widgets, so which will basically display the snapshot value of a specific monitor's performance metrics. Then you also have the availability and health widgets, which will help display the availability, health status, and alarm status for a particular monitor category. And you also have the heat map widgets, wherein the severity status of the health and availability of selected monitors will be displayed. And you'll also be able to view the server uptime widgets, alarm summary widgets, monitor error status widgets, business view widgets, utility widgets, and so on. Now, let me go to the UI and show you how this works. First and foremost, I'm going to show you the alarms that are present. So Applications Manager has a lot of alarms that you can configure. So we've already configured some of the alarms to show you. So these alarms can be categorized on the level of severity. So it can be classified based on critical, warning, as well as clear alarms. As you can see, the health of this particular SQL server is critical, and you can see the associated SQL server, and you can also see the technician to which this has been assigned to. You'll also be able to view the date and time of this particular message, and you can also execute the alarm if you want to. So something that you can associate these alarms or alerts with is with respect to actions. Now you can create which action you want to occur when an alarm is generated. So let me just quickly recap. So we discovered a scenario where you can associate an SQL job action to an alarm, right? So this is exactly how you can do that. So you can go to SQL job action under alarms. So you can give the display name and you can select the action type and you can add the SQL jobs here. So these are the jobs that I've added. And you can also select which servers you want to target, whether you want to auto select them, or you want to select only specific servers, or you want all the servers to be selected in a particular monitor group. And you can also like configure whose email ID you want an alarm to be raised after this action has been executed. And you can also enable in case you want this action to be executed during business hours or outside of business hours. So this is how configuring an action works. So we also provide several key options, which includes an email action, SMS action, executing an MBN operation, separate actions for your cloud instances, virtual machine instances, containers, Windows services, etc. Apart from that, we also provide webhook and REST API action, which you'll be able to trigger for your webhooks and REST APIs. And you can also utilize your Slack option in case you integrate with Slack. Now, the next thing that we saw was with respect to threshold profiles. So these are the threshold profiles that we have. So this is a general threshold profile. So you can give the threshold name and you can assign the critical severity for the monitored value. So if the threshold limit is more than 5, you'll get a critical alarm, and you can also configure what kind of message you want to receive when the alarm is critical. And you can also define within how many polls you want this alarm to be triggered. Say, for example, you're having an issue at 10:15, you're getting a critical alarm at 10:15 a.m. in the morning, then it means that you only want to be alerted of the issue when it's occurring for the third time, which means that the issue has already occurred at 10, 10:05 as well as 10:10, and only when it's occurring at 10:15 again, you'll be receiving the alarm. So this will help you ensure that you don't receive any false alarms. And you can also set thresholds for your warning as well as clear severity levels. Now, as we discussed, we also have an adaptive profile. So we have two types when it comes to adaptive profile. One is automatic, which will raise anomaly alerts by applying machine learning algorithms. And the other one is manual. So manual can be based upon either baseline values or any custom expressions. Now let me show you how automatic works. So how automatics work is that, so it will basically have the baseline set as a best performing week. So say for example, you are setting this threshold profile for CPU utilization. So based upon the previous performance of your CPU, so the applications manager itself will know that what is the best threshold limit for your particular CPU utilization. And when that particular limit is violated, it will give you a critical warning or a clear severity alarm. In case you want to go for a manual process, you can set up the baseline week. So you can set up which week of April or January or February that you want to compare this, use as a baseline value and compare. And you'll be able to compare and set the threshold values for the same. Now, the next one is anomaly. So, anomaly is nothing but when the current data doesn't conform to the rules or any like system variables. So, basically, any deviation from the normal is classified as anomaly. So, let me show you how to create an anomaly profile. Here, you can give the anomaly profile name. And you can also choose to detect the anomaly based on baseline values as well as custom expression. And you can set this baseline date range. Say, for example, if the first week of April was the best performing week, you can set that as a baseline. And you can also set a baseline value based on the previous week's data in case that works the best for you. And you can also specify to trigger as an anomaly what limit needs to be crossed. That is, you can specify the upper limit as well as the lower limit. So we have two comparison methods. The first comparison method is something that I would personally recommend because it will compare the last half value directly with the baseline value, providing you with more accurate information. The second one compares the values based on the corresponding difference with the previous half. So you can choose any one that suits your preferences. Now, this is with respect to like fault management. Now, let's move on and see how reporting works in Applications Manager. So, this is my at a glance report. So, at a glance report, as the name suggests, will give you a glimpse of the availability, response time, CPU utilization, memory utilization, CPU score count, idle time, free physical memory, etc. So, you'll be able to view all the details at a glance. And you'll also be able to view reports such as current snapshot with the availability in health percentage report. You'll be able to compare the outages, and you'll also be able to view the alarm summary report for a particular monitor group, which is basically how many critical warning or clear alarms have been triggered and so on. Apart from this, you'll also be able to do the trend analysis, which will tell you how this particular metric has been performing over a period in time. Apart from that, you also have specific reports for servers, application server, databases, URL services, cloud applications, and so on. As we discussed, we also have the inventory report, which will give you details of all the things that are present in your inventory. And you'll also be able to see the category, the poll interval, when it was created, whether it's associated to any monitor groups, and so on. Then we also have provide SLA management. Now, SLA management will basically help you maintain your SLAs. So you'll be able to see all the SLAs that have been violated over a period in time. And you'll be able to see whether this particular application is meeting the SLA or not, what's been the mean time to resolve this particular issue, mean time between failure, how many events have occurred, and more. And you'll also be able to get a detailed 7 or 30-day report for the same. So in case you want to create a new SLE, you'll also be able to do the same. So you can also configure server SLAs and configure events in case that's your requirement. Now, apart from that, we also have a capacity planning report. So here, as you can see, these are some of the servers that we have enabled for capacity planning. So here you can give your notes for this particular server, and you'll also be able to set configure settings for undersized as well as oversized server diagnosis. So in case you want a particular server to be categorized as undersized or oversized, only if it satisfies certain conditions, you'll be able to set this up here. Now, additionally, you'll also be able to generate forecast reports. As you can see here, you can view the forecast report of disk utilization over a period in time. Say you want to view it for the next 2 months, you'll also be able to view that. You'll be able to view this up to a duration of 2 years. And you'll also be able to view the average utilization and how your growth trend is going to be. Now, aside from reports, we also have dashboards. So I've already created a default dashboard for you. So here you can see see that I've utilized the heat map widget to see how many monitors are in critical state, how many are in clear, how many are unmanaged, and how many are in warning state. You'll also be able to see the infrastructure snapshot, which will give you the monitor type, its availability, health, and so on. And you'll also be able to view the availability history of all of these monitors, including the recent 10 alarms, Tableau data, all the critical processes, and so on. So in case you want to enable any, you can go click here and click add widgets, and you'll be able to add any of the widgets here. Now, in case you want to edit this particular dashboard, you'll also be able to do the same. So in case you want to create a new dashboard for your, say, database team or cloud team, you'll be able to do the same. And you'll also be able to publish these dashboards or create knock views and more. So under business view, you'll be able to see all the applications, monitor groups, etc. that are present. So this is how fault management reports and dashboards work in Applications Manager. Now let's move on to the last topic for the day, which is achieving more out of Applications Manager with built-in integrations. Now, Applications Manager has direct integrations with third-party solutions like Prometheus, ServiceNow, and Slack. But aside from this, we also integrate tightly with Alarms1, Analytics Plus, and Services Plus. Now, these integrations will help you get end-to-end visibility into the performance of your IT infrastructure. It will help you reduce bottlenecks, improve performance insights, as well as help avoid SLA breaches. Now, let me go into detail of how our integration with Services Plus or ServiceNow basically works. Now, first and foremost, Applications Manager, you can sync your CIs, which is basically it will automatically discover all the IT components in the configuration management database of Services Plus or ServiceNow, and it will create dependencies amongst them in Applications Manager. So you'll be able to track all of your configuration items in your IT infrastructure, map the relationships, and predict the impact of your CIs on your business in case any modifications have been made. Next, you'll be able to automate the process of categorizing, prioritizing, and assigning tickets to technicians in Services Place or ServiceNow from within Applications Manager. So you'll be able to create a ticket, track this change in the status of the ticket, and all of its update until it's finally resolved. In Applications Manager, when a predefined condition for a particular monitor violates its threshold value, an alarm is instantly generated and consequently a configured action is executed. Now, with everything automated, you'll be able to ensure that no ticket is left unattended. You'll be able to create or reopen tickets when an alarm is raised for a previously closed ticket. You'll be able to close ticket or update notes in your IT service management platform when an alarm is triggered, is clear. You'll be able to update a ticket when there is a status change in alarms, and you'll also be able to view the request details from Applications Manager console. Now, apart from this, we also provide tight integration with Microsoft Teams. So you'll be able to integrate with MS Teams Graph API or with by using MS Teams connector. You'll be able to receive real-time updates regarding any application issues in your team channel, and this is applicable to Slack as well. Now, aside from this, we also integrate with Analytics Plus, which is our in-house analytics solution. So you'll be able to assess our ROI using detailed infrastructure-specific dashboards, and you'll also be able to fast-track report generation as well as decision-making with the help of comprehensive reports. Additionally, I'd like to let you know that we also provide mobile applications, mobile apps for Android and iPhone users. So by installing Applications Manager mobile app, you'll be able to get an overview of all the monitors, monitor groups, and subgroups with their availability and health status. And you'll also be able to receive critical alerts on the go. So we will provide a link for installing the Android as well as iPhone versions in the chat panel, and you'll be able to quickly install the same. So let me just show you how these integrations work in Applications Manager. So you go to Settings. Under Product Settings, you have Integrations or Add-on Settings. So here I've already enabled ServiceNow integration with ServiceNow. So I've given the name of the instance, and you can either choose to use the credentials or use OAuth authentication. And you can also modify the password based on your choice. So you can also enable the mail notification in case there has been a connectivity failure. And you can also set up how many times you want to trigger an email until the connection is successful. You can also add events in case your event management plugin has been activated in your ServiceNow instance. And you can also instantly log tickets. Like we previously discussed, you'll be able to configure settings to reopen tickets as well as update them. And you'll also be able to provide specific settings for accessing them from Applications Manager. Then you'll also be able to configure the configuration item settings. So, in case what are the monitors you want to exclude, in case you want to access the CI and relationship details from Applications Manager or not. So, once you provide all of these details and the connection is successful, you'll be able to view all the details in your service now module. Now, in case you use ManageEngine Service Displays, you'll also be able to do the same. Now, in case you want a detailed demo of how this works, just feel free to ping us in the chat panel and we'll be happy to help you out. Now, apart from ServiceNow and Service Displays, we also integrate with Prometheus, Alarms One, Slack, Op Manager, and more. And we also provide REST API integration. So in case you have any custom built-in solutions that you want to integrate with, we'll be happy to help you and we'll be happy to integrate. Now, aside from all of this, I'd like to let you know that Applications Manager is available in 3 editions. The first one is a free edition and it supports up to 5 monitors with a fewer restrictions and it's free forever. And the second one, in case you want to go for an actual setup, then I'd recommend going for the professional edition. So this is ideal for small to medium enterprises looking to monitor up to 500 applications based on your load. Now, in case you're a very large enterprise and are looking to monitor more than 500 applications, I'd recommend you to go for the enterprise edition because it scales up to 10,000 monitors with the help of a distributed setup. Now, let me provide a quick recap of what we discussed today. We saw how auto discovery and dependency mapping will help you discover all the applications within your IT infrastructure and map the dependencies across the entire IT stack. We also saw the key performance metrics that you need to keep track of while monitoring your application servers, databases, as well as your servers. And we also saw how Applications Manager currently supports agent-based server monitoring tool for Windows as well as Linux. And we also saw how Applications Manager utilizes AI and ML to detect anomalies, analyze performance trends, as well as plan capacity. And then lastly, we saw how Applications Manager seamlessly integrates with ITSM tools, analytic tools, etc. in order to help you manage your infrastructure seamlessly. Thank you for attending session and being a great audience today. Have a nice day.